Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we'll cover a very important concept for the LLMs, that is large language models. So you might have heard or not heard many a times that LLMs are by design stateless. But what does it really mean by stateless? So the stateless means it doesn't store the data it doesn't store something. And for stateful, it means it stores some things. Oh, what does that mean for the context of the LLM? Now, suppose if you are going to ChatGPT, then you are asking that, hey, who is Sachin Tendulkar? Then it might answer that, okay, he is great cricketer and all. Then if you ask what is his age, then it might return you, who are you talking about? But it generally doesn't happen, right? You generally ask ChatGPT something and then it answers it back, right? So let's experiment and let's understand what is meant by stateless or stateful. If you go here and if you ask who is Sachin Tendulkar, so it gives a good image, some informations because it is trained on those data. Now, he, if you say why is he so great, so if you see this pattern, this is called like a stateful. But I am trying to establishing that LLMs are not stateful. So this is the sheer example of statefulness. So it when you say it like why is he great? So ChatGPT knows he means Sachin Tendulkar. And why he means Sachin Tendulkar? Because in the previous conversation you had asked who is Sachin Tendulkar. But for a standalone LLMs, it is not possible. So standalone LLMs means if you need to understand the ChatGPT interfaces, there is a model, the GPT one, right? Generative Pre-trained Transformers. The GPT is there. On in top of that, there are some code orchestrator that is working behind the scene, and in front of you there is a front end. So this is a front end. This is taking your request. When I say hi, it is taking your request. It's calling an API of the model that is GPT, and that GPT might be GPT 5.4 or something. So you are from the front end itself, it is calling to the API, it is sending back the answer, and then you are getting it visible in the front end interfaces. Now, in the second turn, when you are saying that why is so great, so basically the ChatGPT company itself, the OpenAI company, has orchestrated it in such a way that it is appending this one, also this chat, and then appending this one. So it's appending and then sending back to LLMs. So when it is in the second turn, when it is going back to the LLM, it is receiving all these things that the user first asks who is Sachin Tendulkar. It processes all these informations in the second turn. All then it is correlating that why is he so great means he means Sachin. But you don't have to trust me that this is happening, right? So let's directly call our OpenAI API and then see what is happening regarding the statelessness. So if you see, I have written some code into it. Let's understand the code itself. So this load.env is nothing but loading the environment key. So we need to have an API authentication key for GPT that is trying to hitting the GPT-1. And now we are creating one variable using chat OpenAI. So we are using this LangChain OpenAI module. From that we are calling this chat OpenAI. In this chat OpenAI, we are passing this argument of model, what model we are using. So right now we are using GPT 4.0 and then we are using temperature as 0. So temperature 0 means it will be straightforward, it will not be creative. And then we have a memory. If you see, there is nothing in this memory. Then we have a chat interface where we are sending the user input and we are just invoking the user input, right? And then we need to just comment this out. We are writing this while true, choice is the one, and then choice Q question. So this is the one. So let's run. So you want to continue? Oh yes, obviously I want to continue. Now let's query who is Sachin Tendulkar. Now it will take little time. So if you see the answer, Sachin Tendulkar is a former Indian cricketer, this and that and all. Now I want to continue, right? So I want to continue. But understand this. I'm just giving the input here, and that input, that means when I said that who is Sachin Tendulkar, so it is coming into the choice itself. Sorry, first it would be coming as like this Y to continue or Q to quit. So if you see, I gave Y, so it will be continuing. So as it is not Q, so it will be coming to the else. Now in the else, there is a variable called question. In questions, I am collecting the input. So the questions the user have, and I'm just simply passing that questions to the chat functions. In the chat functions, I am receiving the question. In the LLM, in human message, I'm just invoking the user input. And then I'm printing the response dot content. So it is sending back the response and I'm just sending you the content. So now closely observe this. When I said who is Sachin Tendulkar, it answered me okay, this and that, right? Now again ask the question, why is he so great? Now see the answer. So I'm hitting the 4.0 GPT 4.0 itself. So I'm hitting the ChatGPT API, but see the answers. To provide a meaningful answer, I would need more context about who he refers to. If you can provide additional details or specify the person you were talking about, I would be happy to help explain why they might be considered great. So it is not able to identify that here who means like why he is so great. He means Sachin Tendulkar. Though I didn't just first and I asked who is Sachin Tendulkar, it was able to answer me back. But then on the second time, if I am correlating with these answers, it is not able to understand. How ChatGPT handles? It just appendages this to the memory itself. And in the memory itself, then it goes back to the one. So this is called the statelessness. So you need to understand this. LLMs by design is stateless. Stateless means it doesn't have the context of two answers, but it is the programmers or the developers that makes it stateful. So they have engineered those systems to make it stateful. How they have engineered these systems to make it stateful, like it happens in ChatGPT, in the next video, we'll use that. But I need to break the myth that the LLM is stateless. And now onwards, you know the meaning what is statelessness. Thank you for joining. See you in the next video.